So thank you again for, this is your second lecture on Zoology 102, and we're continuing with the chordates. Remember we spoke yesterday that we often commonly refer to this group as vertebrates, but I want you to change your language to calling them the chordates. So this is the second lecture of the chordate group. And yesterday we spoke about the 5 characteristics of chordates. Today we're going to look at them in more detail. Again, please remember that we're referring to your new textbook and the pages. Guys. And then this is the old textbook and the page numbers that you should look at, okay? Please, your cladograms and your phylogenetic trees have been updated between the two textbooks. The new ones are going to be in the lectures. Okay, great, let's go. So again, what we discussed and we introduced to yesterday was the phylum Chordata. That's what we're working with this group, this module, eh? The phylum Chordata. Within the Chordata group, we have 3 subphylums: Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and Vertebrata. Now, these Latin terms, by the way, English comes from Latin. Do you know that? No. Yeah. So, the way you pronounce a lot of these words are very similar, but we can understand what the meanings of some of these words are, and then we understand what the meaning of the term is. So, Urochordate means the chordate with a tail. What? Cephalochordate is the chordate with a head. And Vertebrata are the chordates with vertebrae. Okay, that's important. Urochordata. What is a urochordate? Eh? But what does it look like? What? You think I'm smoking? Okay, can someone turn the lights off there by your head, please? Turn them off. Oh, it can't. Off. All of them off. Turn the lights off. Doesn't want to go off. I think it's complaining because we're moving. Ah, Ross is dancing, check. Okay, guys. This is called a tunicate. This is we call them red baits in South Africa. This is a crazy little animal that you only find in the sea. Okay? We call them Urochordata because they actually have the characteristics of a chordate. It is a crazy animal. Huh? And because of this crazy animal, it's very small. It's about the size of your hand. Many people around the coast of South Africa catch them and kill them to use them as bait to catch other fish. They call them red bait. Okay, so we get them in South Africa. They're called Urochordata. Okay, and we're going to talk about how it develops. Wow, it's because you're not moving, which is good. So this thing is called, this is a Urochordate. Okay. Then, what is a cephalochordate? A cephalochordate is this thing. Okay, now we're starting to look more like a fish. Eh? Very simple animal. It has the characteristics of the chordates as well, and that is in the subphylum Urochordata. Now, you just need to know that cephalochordata. Urochordata, what they are, the tunicates. Cephalochordata, what they are called lancets. I just want you to know what they are. Okay. Then we move on to vertebrates. But all of the animals of the phylum Chordata share 5 characteristics. You remember? And this is them. 5 characteristics. We spoke about this yesterday. First, we have a notochord. Notochord is a very important structure that gives the body integrity. It helps us to form shape. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Pharyngeal gill slits. What is your pharynx? You have a pharynx. Pharynx is located in your head, your face, around here. What is a pharynx? Your pharynx is actually the thing that separates your mouth from your nose, and your esophagus is attached to your pharynx. You understand that? It's here. That means that these pharyngeal gill slits, the slits or clefts, occur around here, the same place. You understand? That's characteristic number 2. Characteristic number 3 is an endostyle. That is a type of glandular organ that secretes things. Okay? In you guys, it is your thyroid. Do you think we make this up? Huh? Who thinks we make it up? No one. Who thinks we make this up? Hey? Yes, you can have a sweet. She thought we made it up. Guys, to work on this is tough, eh? And there are specialists, there are A-rated specialist scientists who only work on the endostyle. That's his whole life, is to work on the endostyles. I met a scientist whose whole career was based on understanding the linings of lungs of different animals. That's his whole job. And you think that's crazy. Why would you do that? So that we understand how things connect, how things are related, where they're going, what they look like, what they've come from. Okay. Number 3. We've done that. Number 4 is the dorsal hollow nerve cord. That's pretty special, guys. Without your nervous system, we wouldn't have much fun on earth, would we? Your ability to perceive your environment, all of your senses, everything is related to this very important nerve cord. And number 5, the muscular post-anal tail. Remember I said this was the myomas, the chevron-shaped muscles, but that's number 6. We don't need that. We're interested in the muscular post-anal tail. Do you have a tail? Technically, you do. Technically. Why? Because you have a coccyx, the little coccyx that extends from your hip joint. You understand? But you don't, when you stand up, you don't have a tail. Do you understand? By the way, some human beings have got mutations that feed back to, and the vertebra extends, and they actually grow a tail. It is just a mutation, like some of our other mutations that we have with people, eh? Genetic mutations. It happens. Go and look it up. Okay. Who thinks I'm smoking? Now you're getting it. Okay, guys. All right, let's move on. Notochord. What is the notochord? The notochord is an organ or a feature that develops from the mesoderm. Do you remember what a mesoderm is? Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. So during embryonic development, you have different structures in the organism forming different features. And part of the structure that's in the middle is called the mesoderm. And this notochord develops from the mesoderm. It is the first part of the endoskeleton in an embryo. Endoskeleton, meaning internal structure that gives support to the organism. Endoskeleton. All chordates, all of them, including that red bait, has a notochord. And that notochord gives it structure. Notochord. What? It's what? Oh, you're looking at it. He's Googled the tail already. I should give him marks for not paying attention in class. Take marks away. Who thinks I should deduct marks from Ross? For not paying attention. Here you go. You can have a seat. Who was it?
Because she has one tail.
We call that a poacher. Okay. It is dorsal to the coelom. What does dorsal and ventral mean? What is dorsal on me? What is dorsal? The back is dorsal. Ventral is the front. So it is behind, towards the back of the coelom. What is the coelom? The coelom is a cavity that forms during developing embryos. All these structures you did during during ZOO101, hey? Okay, so I need to know where they occur. Finally, it is ventral and parallel. Behind, ventral and parallel. So it's in front of and adjacent to, front of, and it runs along the same line. That's what parallel means, like a railway track. So it's more to the ventral side, the front of the animal. It is below the nerve cord, and it runs parallel to the nerve cord. Okay, that's where it occurs. So if you cut up an animal, you can find it, guys. Now you know where it is. When you know where it is, you can find it. That's the reason why we want to show you where it is. And just to make sure that you know what that feature is and where it occurs. Because knowing that feature allows you for the rest of your life to be able to go and pick up something and say, hey, this is a chordate. Okay, number 2, we're still on notochord. What is it? It is a flexible rod extending the length of the body. It is hydrostatic organ. Okay, because of the structure of the cells, the fluid is encased in fibrous cells. Because of the flexible rod-like structure of the notochord, it gives integrity, it gives structure and support to the animal. You with me? The notochord. That's what its main function is for us. That's what we benefit from having a notochord, is that we can, again, as I said earlier, you can actually maintain your shape because you have that structure in you. Okay? And that's what was very important for animals. This is just an idea of what it looks like. So it has an elastic sheath. Let me just get the pointer. Elastic sheath, fibrous sheath, and notochord cells. These notochord structures are fluid-filled cells. That's what it does. It pushes fluid into the cells and they get hard. And because all the cells are hard, it gives structure. It gives a little bit of flexibility but strength and allows you to put things onto it. Is it bone? Huh? Is it bone? No, we're not talking about bone yet, eh? But remember, a lot of those features, like the vertebrae, are going to develop from these structures. Aha. So we must be careful when we say things like that. Okay, next one. How do I go? Move on now. Okay, so what is the function? It is mechanical properties. It has lateral flexibility. So the physical mechanical properties, a mechanical property of something is what can it physically do. So the mechanical properties or features of the notochord is it has lateral flexibility. It can only move from left to right. What is this going to allow things to do? It allows things to swim. Exactly. Anterior, posterior, incompressible. You cannot compress it top or bottom. You cannot compress it. And its movement, because it has lateral flexibility movement, it doesn't want to go down. When you push it down, it resists. And that's what gives you the structure. But because of its the flexibility, it allows you. If the whole thing was rigid, you wouldn't be able to do anything with it. You would just be this organism with this solid thing in it, and that's all. But because of the flexibility, things are allowed to start moving. You see, they can move with it, but it still gives you the structure. Okay, by the way, let me give you an example of something similar that we use everyday life. Do you know what carbon fiber is? Carbon fiber is a material that's very, very light, but very, very strong. Only in a certain direction. If you pack carbon fiber sheets like this on top of each other, you cannot flex it, you cannot break it. You understand? It's very strong. They use it for airplanes. But if you turn it on its side and you put something on it, it'll shatter and break. Okay. A carbon fiber bicycle. Do you know that people pay all this money for a bicycle, a carbon fiber frame? And that frame is designed and built to withstand a lot of weight and pressure on the side. The minute that cyclist falls and you bump that frame on the side, you can drop it and it'll shatter. You understand? There are other materials like that to give you an idea what the notochord looks like. Provides rigidity. What is something that's rigid? Okay, it's something that's stiff. It gives support to something. It's not a rigid person. Do you know what a rigid person is? A rigid person is someone who does not want to conform or listen to anybody else. I'm going to do it my way. I'm rigid. You understand? It acts as antagonistic. It acts as antagonistic to muscles. So antagonistic means against. So it allows you to work against the direction of the muscles. So because of its position where the muscles are attached, the muscle then works it left and right. Do you understand that? So the muscles use it, and it works in an antagonistic fashion with the muscles to be able to move. So we're not trying to fight against the notochord. We're working with the notochord, the muscles. Hey? Allows lateral swimming motion. There you go. That's why. It allows natural swimming motion. Prevents telescopic body compression. Okay, and telescopic means that if you compress it from the front to the back. Let me give you an example of what happens when you do that. Can you think of anything that if you put it down and it starts to shrink on its own, if you don't leave it? I suppose it's like, no, I'll think of an example next time for you. Okay, telescopic body compression. So telescopic means that you can compress it from its nose to its tail. It doesn't allow that. It keeps it apart. You understand that? It keeps it separate. All right. Some evolutionary notes. These are notes based on the development of organisms and their view of how organisms have developed and how important the notochord is in the context of evolution, is that it is a favored form. It is very common and characteristic and very useful and favored for locomotion. Okay, it's a very useful feature to allow things to move. Okay, that's all you need to know. Okay, I just want to highlight that because, and maybe I'll talk about it now. The notochord is present in adults of the amphioxus and the agnathans. Amphioxus is the little lancet, eh? The little lancet and the amphioxus, if you remember, if we go back, hey, I've got to stop this. Are we going right now? No. This won't go. There we go. Okay, what is amphioxus? Remember, it's this lancet here. Hey? The lancet is the cephalocordata. Okay, and agnathans. Agnathans are those fish-like animals that have no jaws. Agnatha means no jaws. The lampreys and the lampreys is a good example. Okay, it is present in later forms. It is present in the embryo of many animals. So the notochord is present in the adults of amphioxus and agnathans, but it is only present in the embryos of the later forms of animals, the vertebrates. Okay. It induces growth of the brain and the spinal cord. It is a scaffold for further development. It is the scaffold. It is the feature that allows further development to occur. Remember I told you that is there a relationship between the notochord and the vertebrae? Okay, you can see that it's the scaffolding. It's the feature that allows a lot of these things to develop later on. Okay, replaced by cartilaginous or bony vertebrae in adults. Reduced to a disc between the vertebrae, example gnathostomes. And a gnathostome is an animal with a jaw. And you can see this is just a very simple picture of where the vertebrae is, and then where have they put a picture of the notochord here? Oh, they're just showing you the vertebrae. So it's a very simple, it's a very small disc between the vertebrae. Okay, why is that disc so important to us? Because that disc provides cushioning between your vertebrae, hey? That cartilaginous disc. And many of us, many people, because of what they're doing with sport or ladies, even with babies, a lot of ladies who struggle with their babies a lot, who don't pick them up properly, they have these discs that burst out. And that's remnants of your notochord that you are injuring. Okay, then you have problems. Cool. Pharyngeal slits. Okay, remember your pharynx is up here in your head, around your head, neck area. So what are these pharyngeal clefts or slits? So it's an invagination. Invaginate, do you remember what that is? Something that folds inwards. Okay, invaginate, it folds inwards. Of the ectoderm. Ectoderm is your outside cells that cause your outside part of your body, which becomes your skin or scales or whatever else an animal may have, like feathers. Your ectoderm. Ecto means outside, derm means covering. Outside covering. It's an invagination of the outside covering, which means that these pharyngeal slits form from an inward compression of the cells from the outside. You see, the difference between the notochord is it comes from the mesoderm, from the inside, and it's created from the mesoderm on the middle and it's formed. The pharyngeal slits come from the outside and they vaginate inwards. Okay, that's how it's formed. I think I'm only really interested in how are they formed in the context of the origin. Ectoderm. That's enough. Of the pharynx. Aquatic vertebrates, they are slits. Amniotes, they are pouches. Okay? And amniotes again refers to the way that we carry our embryos, our babies. We're going to talk about that later. Tetrapods, which includes us, mammals. Tetrapods are all of the reptiles, mammals. No, not the birds. Okay, they become, I think it is, the eustachian tube, middle ear cavity, the tonsils, and the parathyroid glands. What is your eustachian tube? Does anybody know what an eustachian tube is? It's... She's got to get it right. What is it? You know where it is? Okay, that's not that. What is your eustachian tube? What is your eustachian tube? It's in your ear. That's not entirely correct. Yeah? Okay? It's connected with the ear. What is it though? It's a tube. So what does a tube do? The tube connects things. So it's from your ear to what? Your brain? No. Huh? Here and your okay, your eustachian canal is a tube that goes from here to your mouth. Okay. Block your nose with your fingers like this. And blow. Can you feel there's something in your ears that goes big like this? You are pushing air into your eustachian canal. You can feel it by doing this. And you can see where it is. And if you move your jaw, you can open it again. Why? Because it's connected to your mouth. It's very important to drain fluids from your inner ear. Okay, great. So that's remnants of these pharyngeal clefts that we have. By the way, when we develop as an embryo baby, you can actually see these features forming, and they still resemble that shape, those clefts, those pharyngeal clefts. Okay, where are they located? Posterior. Posterior is behind the mouth. Okay, have you ever heard somebody say, you're going to land on your posterior? People used to say that. I'm going to put you on your posterior. You're going to land on your posterior. It's landing on your bum. It means behind. It means, or below, behind. So the location is it's posterior to the mouth. It's just below your mouth. When you blow in your mouth and you can feel it expand, you can feel where it is. Opening from the pharynx to the outside. Okay, that's where it occurs. Evolutionary notes and function. They were initially used for feeding. And this is still available in these red baits. Okay, the Chordate. You can still see them, that this is what's developed to allow water to flow through the animal so that they can use it to siphon water through their mouth and absorb all of the food from it. Okay, that's what it was there. And again, many scientists they try and look at these different features and they look at relatedness between organisms, and that's where the theories of what they are and how they're connected, what they become in other animals comes from. Okay, I said that quite fast. Okay. Do you have any questions at the moment? Hey? No questions? You know what this is? You have to learn. This is one of those modules where you have to go and learn. Okay, you've got to learn this. Okay, and I'm going to try and test you as much as I can to make sure you are learning. I want to force you to learn this. I want to help you. I've got students who are going to help you. You're going to go to my students and say, as a tutor, to say, Stacy, please, I don't understand what's going on here. What is a pharyngeal slit? And she's going to say, I'm not so sure. Let's go get the textbook. And she will help you to figure it out. Why? Because she's not doing the module with you, but she's there to help you. Okay, use them, guys. Bongi Sibia. Who remembers Bongi Sibia? No one remembers him. Oh, you guys are starting again. Bongi Sibia is the second year. Bongi Sibia, listen, he started last year as ZOO102. This year he is registering for a PhD. Am I true? Is anybody vouch for me that that's what Bongi did? What? Okay, let's move on. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to leave it as a surprise. Okay, primitive chordates. Listen, please, guys. So it was important for feeding. One way, guys, please make sure that you're signing the register, hey? Make sure the register is moving. Primitive chordates, food particles move via cilia. Cilia are little hairs. These little cilia hairs used to trap food, and they used to trap it in the mucus, and the mucus would take it and digest it. Nice. That's what red bait still does. Later it expanded into a pharyngeal basket, and that developed into gills and other features like that. Okay. Pharyngeal slits. That's an example of the pharyngeal slits. You know these areas here where the gill covers are. Okay? So they later associated with gills, feeding and respiration, capillary network. This capillary network that you have in fishes are fine blood vessels that run along the gill arches, and when water flows past the capillaries, there are special cells that allow fish to take oxygen out of the water. Can you believe it? That's how fish were able to develop these gills. That's what it is. It's crazy. The mucus pump without cilia, and that's the example in many vertebrates. By the way, who here knows that you can cut down this green tree like a euphorbia? If you cut the euphorbia up into small pieces, you can throw it into water and you can catch fish. Do you know that? Who's ever done that? You've done that. Yes, you should have kept quiet. You should have kept quiet. That has got a chemical in it that binds to the cells on the capillaries of the pharyngeal slits, which are the gills of fish, and doesn't allow them to take oxygen out the water. It is a very special chemical reaction. Crazy, eh? Crazy. All right, what about the development of other chordates? So when during embryonic phases of many embryos, you see that you develop these properties that are pharyngeal clefts or slits. So they occur, but we don't find them today in modern tetrapods, mammals like us, but they are definitely there when you are developing as an embryo. Okay, those are why the characteristics are so important. In a shark, for example, it's these gill openings, these gill slits. Okay, does a shark have bones? No. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay, endostyle. What is the endostyle? It is the glandular structure that today in you is your thyroid. Guys, forms from cells in the pharynx. What is your pharynx again? It is that thing that separates your mouth from your nose that your esophagus is attached to. Okay, your pharynx. That's what it forms from. So your thyroid gland sits just next to above your pharynx. Your pharynx. The location is the pharyngeal floor. It's a glandular groove in the floor of the pharynx. That's what it is. That's where it is. Can you see there? The bottom of your pharynx. Okay, by your mouth. Function. What is the endostyle? It was used for filter feeding. It secreted the mucus that trapped the food to allow organisms to live. And that also helped them with their metabolism and the regulation of iodine. Guys, your thyroid gland today still regulates iodine in your body. Without iodine, you die. How do you get iodine into your body today? Because you cannot get it from the environment. You cannot get it from your food. How do we give you iodine today to make sure that you've got enough iodine? Who knows? Iodine. It comes from salt. Go and look at your salt. It says iodated salt. People put iodine in your salt to make sure you get enough iodine. And sometimes people crave a lot of salt because they are craving the iodine. What? No sweets, unfortunately. Okay, homology. Okay, your thyroid gland is your homologous organ, contributes to the homology of your body. Guys, similar characteristics due to relatedness. That's what it is. It's related organisms will share similarities that are derived from a common ancestor. That's just how we know that there are similar species with similar organisms, and we can allow that to, we can use that to tell us how these organisms are related, relatedness. Okay. Yeah. Very important. Evolution from the endostyle. This is the endostyle. It forms from the floor of the pharynx. Did I go in the right way? We've done that already. Okay. All chordates have either an endostyle or a derived thyroid gland. Chordates, endostyle. Cephalochordates, endostyle. Lampreys. Lampreys are your agnathans. No jaws. Agnatha. A means no. Gnatha, jaw. No gnathans. Your lampreys, they have an endostyle. And then your adult lampreys and your vertebrates, they then develop thyroids. Okay. And by the way, this is an example where from the larval lamprey to the adult lamprey, you can see the development of the thyroid, which is a characteristic in other vertebrates. The vertebrata. Pretty cool. It's pretty cool stuff. Dorsal hollow nerve cord. How does it form? It's formed from invagination again, from your ectodermal neural plate. It's an invagination of that plate. Guys, I'm not going to ask you how this happens. I'm not going to ask you. I'm going to ask you, where does it come from? Okay, where does it come from? If your dorsal hollow nerve cord is an invagination from your ectoderm, your outside integrity, your outside skin, it's an invagination of that. Neural plate folds inwards. Okay, please just go through your notes. I think we're running out of time. Are we done? Are we running out of time? Let me finish. I'm almost there. And then finally, where does it occur? Where is it? It's dorsal to the notochord and the digestive tract. Dorsal means behind. Behind. It is a hollow tube full of nerve cells. That's very important for us, guys. That's what gives us the senses we have and the ability to do these things. Okay, almost there. Neurosul. Anterior part forms part of the brain. The anterior, the front part of your hollow dorsal nerve cord becomes your brain. It is connected. It is connected. Almost there, almost there. Function, service, central nervous system in all animals. All chordates have it. It is your nervous system, hey? Agnathans, no jaws, no protective vertebrae over them. But the gnathostomata, those that have jaws, they all have this protective sheath that covers the notochord or the nerve cord, and that is what in you is your spine, your vertebrae. Okay. So from the agnathans, no jaws, they don't have a protective covering over their nervous system. And from there on, those with jaws and beyond, they all have this protective covering. Okay. And finally, post-anal tail. Where does it develop from? It's extension of the notochord. The notochord, where does it form from? And it's an extension of the notochord. Post-anal. Post-anal means that it's behind the anal opening of an organism. That's where it occurs. That's why they call it a post-anal tail. Post-anal tail. I'm going to show you some fish later, and I'm going to show you a post-anal tail. Okay. Segmented muscles of the notochord, around the notochord, it's attached to the notochord and it extends from the notochord. It's been reduced and redundant in us. It doesn't extend. It's just part of your coccyx is all that's left. Beyond the anus, we've done that. Okay, this is the last slide. What is it for? It helps us with locomotion, swimming. Tails from the notochord and myomers are those muscle cells. Okay, what does it do? It has a function. It helps animals swim. Present in all chordates, present in all embryos, but may be present in only some adults. Humans have a coccyx, that little bone behind you in your vertebrae. That's all there is. And the myomers are blocks of segmented chevron-shaped muscles present in most chordates, but not in Chordata, which is the siphon. Guys, this was a tough part of the introduction of chordates. Okay? I want to move past this because although there will be some questions, what is really important is last year we spent a lot of time on chordata. Okay? There's a few things we want to finish up, but I want to move on to the fishes. Okay, so this lecture today, guys, listen. This lecture today is very important. There will be questions from this in your semester test. There will be questions from this in your exam. I guarantee it. Okay, was very important. Please go over the slides. Have your textbook with you to help you understand what's in the lecture. And I've recorded it for you. Okay. Guys, please don't be late today. The bus is going to be here at 2 o'clock for Conservation 102 Prac. We're going to the river to show you some demos of what we're going to do. All right, where's my attendance register? Attendance register. First person to bring me the attendance register gets 2 sweets.